my inspiration for getting into science was largely related to all the time I spent in the outdoors when we were younger. Our family vacations took us to great places like the Great Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, where I can remember at 10 years old we had a bear sniffing at the back of our tent. And also to places like Algonquin Provincial Forest in Canada, where we hiked and canoed. So a lot of time in the outdoors really piqued my interest in the sciences and ecology. Also in high school, I had a great history teacher by the name of Huey Davis. He taught well, and he really piqued my interest in history as well. So when I went to college, I was directed towards maybe doing being a park ranger for the National Park Service, and maybe going to national parks all around the country to interpret history and natural history as well. I went to East Stroudsburg University, and I started a major in history, and I took early in my college career, I took a 3-week class called Winter Birds of Florida, where we camped and hiked around the state parks in Florida. And at that point, that really changed my direction. I wanted to be working in the sciences and the natural history. And straight out of college, I started working for the Monroe County Conservation District in a temporary position, but we were doing outreach and education. And as a result of the contacts I made at the Monroe County office, I was able to come to Pike County as part of the Conservation District. I worked at a scientific research station right here in northeastern Pennsylvania. I helped with scientific research. I did educational outreach for the program. And as a result of my contacts there, I ended up at a global scale doing educational programs. Educational programs in neat natural history places like the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador, the Alaska Inside Passage, Glacier Bay, in places like Kenya, where we went on African safari. Whenever I had an opportunity to do networking and outreach, I was able to make more contacts, and it just seemed like the opportunities came to me. And so I would encourage anyone looking to get into any career to do a lot of networking and meet people and get out into the community and do those types of things. As far as rewards, my rewards were certainly great personally, to have traveled 3 times to Kenya, Africa on safari, to go swimming with sea lions in the Galapagos Islands, to go birding on Costa Rica, one of the greatest places for birding in the world. And but I think the biggest reward is being able to educate and give knowledge to other folks in regard to doing more in the outdoors. And as a result of that, they take positive action towards conserving and protecting the environment.
I was inspired to go into the scientific field, I think because I grew up on a 160-acre dairy farm. And I was always out doing something with the animals and being out in nature. Most of the time we were working, but I knew I didn't want to go into the animal field. I didn't want to be a veterinarian or anything like that, but I really enjoyed being outside and doing things with my hands, and I didn't want a desk job where I was always inside just shuffling papers and such. So I knew I wanted to go into the scientific field. I didn't know what type of field I wanted into, so I tried to keep my options open when I looked into a college. I went to a small liberal arts college, so I pursued an environmental science degree, which I thought was great for me because it not only brought the science in, the biology, the environmental science, the taxonomy, but it also brought in the economic, the political, the social issues that I knew would be important in dealing with any kind of environmental issue. So I not only saw things from just a scientific background, but I saw it from all different aspects, the economic, the political background. So I understood where most people were coming from when they came to me with an argument that it might be more important for them to see the economic side of the issue where they weren't seeing the environmental side of the issue. So kept my options open for what kind of field I was going to get into when I left college, because I did have all different experiences while I was in school. what was important to me while I was in school too is when I had my summers off out of college, I would not just go work for the most highest paying job, the highest paying job. I would try to find internships that were paid, but they would be also in my field. So instead of trying to make more money, I found work that would provide internships and backgrounds that let me try to narrow down my field of interest. So I did West Nile studies on mosquitoes. So I did research on that. I worked on a construction. I worked for PennDOT for 2 summers. So I could see all different aspects of the environmental field and try to narrow down what I was interested in. When I applied for the position at the Conservation District, the executive director at the time said that's how I got my job, because of my internships. So by having those internships, I had experiences in many different fields. I had done water quality studies for another internship. So I think the internships really allowed me to get the job that I was looking for. I think one of the most rewarding aspects of my position is to go out into the field, and maybe when we're dealing with a problem, maybe somebody's done some type of earth disturbance or impacting a wetland or stream, and they might not see the importance of why it's important not to impact the stream and wetland in the manner they did, and they may not always agree with me, but at the end of the day, I can try to explain to them what the importance is of that wetland or stream and the overall community and the overall environment, and they tend to see that point a little bit better by the time I leave, and how what they've done may impact the overall community. The challenges, I've been at the district for 12 years. I came to the job right out of college. 2 weeks after I graduated, I got the position here. And one of the challenges at that time was that I entered a mostly male-dominated field. It's the construction business. We deal with the environmental permitting for construction, and we would often go into trainings, or I would be at meetings, and I would be the only woman at the meeting. So it was a little challenging to be accepted and to be able to show that I had just as much knowledge as anybody else in that position. In 12 years, I can see how much that has changed. There's a lot more acceptance. And the best management practices, they have the diversion berm here, and then there's a compost filter sock, and out.